So, in this question, you are just supposed to assess the performance, of the production manager and sales manager and indicate whether the current bonus scheme is fair to those concerned or not, right? This question is of 7 marks, right? 7 marks means you just need to, because this was a question where examiner has first asked you to evaluate the performance. So whether you know what are the calculations, whether you don't know what are the calculations, it doesn't matter. What you need to do is just to see the variances and analyze the performance, right? So what the examiner is asking you to do is assess the performance of production manager, right, and the sales manager, and indicate whether the current bonus scheme is fair to those concerned or not. That is for 7 marks, right? So how much you are supposed to write? What can you identify the marking scheme? There are three requirements now. So 1 mark can be, we can do 1 mark for bonus, right? 3 marks for production manager, 2 marks for the sales manager. Or we can do 4 marks for production manager and sorry, three or sorry, 3 3 or 4 2, right? So this can be the marking scheme how we can distribute, but somehow there are three parts, three requirements. One is the assessment of production manager, one is the assessment of sales manager, and one is to indicate whether the bonus is fair or not, right? So let's start with the question. Let's quickly do this, right? Okay. Crumbly cake make cakes which are sold directly to the public, right? The new production manager, a celebrity chef, has argued that the business should use only organic ingredient in its cake production, right? Organic ingredients are more expensive but should produce a product with an improved flavor and give health benefits for the customer, right? It was hoped that this would stimulate the demand and enable an immediate price increase for the cakes. Now let's try to understand this part of the question. We are trying to change the ingredient from conventional to organic one, right? If we switch to organic, then materials are going to be more expensive. That means what? That means material price variance is going to be adverse. If you don't change the standard cost card, your price variance is going to be adverse because new material is more expensive, right? But should produce a product with an improved flavor and give health benefits for the customer. Now, here an important point is that you need to understand customers' requirement. If customer really wants healthy product, in that case, you can go for it. Otherwise, customer may not give additional benefit. Customer may not be willing to pay extra money for such cakes. So, but the good part is it is also going to improve flavor. It was hoped that this will stimulate the demand, right, and enable immediate price increase for cakes, right? So these are few important points. Now, Crumbly Cakes has operated a responsibility-based standard cost card. This is responsibility-based standard costing system, which allocate variances to specific individuals. The individual managers are paid a bonus only when net favorable variances are allocated to them. What do you mean by this statement? When net favorable variances are allocated to them. This means that let's suppose if I'm responsible for usage variance and I'm also responsible for price variance because I'm the one who is going to tell purchasing manager which material they should buy. If I'm telling purchasing manager that they have to buy this quality of raw material, in that case, somehow I'm trying to influence the prices. So maybe I'm responsible for that because purchasing manager will say that, hey, I'm not responsible. He asked me to purchase this standard of raw material. That's why I purchased, right? Somehow I'm responsible for also price variances, right? So if price variance and usage variance, if overall variance is favorable, only then I will get the bonus. Otherwise, I will not get. If overall variances are adverse, I will not get bonus. So that's what do we mean by net favorable variances are allocated to them. Now, the new organic cake production approach was adopted at the start of March 2009. Now, this is an important statement. We adopted this in March 2009. Following a decision by new production manager, no change. Now, this is an extremely important statement. No change was made at the time to the standard cost card. What do you mean by this statement? This means that we have changed raw material from conventional to organic. But we didn't change the standard. Now just imagine you were using a conventional material, right? Maybe a conventional sugar. Now you are moving to stevia, which is a healthy option, an alternate, a healthier option. So if you're moving to stevia or any other product, any sugar-free, any other sweetener, in that case you have to bear more cost because that is costly, right? But you are not allowing to change the standard. So that means if the original price of sugar was, let's suppose original price was of sugar was $3 per kilogram, and stevia or other alternate product will cost you around $5 per kilogram. In that case, you are saying that you are not changing this standard. So if we are buying stevia, and if we are buying stevia even for $5 per kilogram, if we are buying exactly at the market price, still we will have a negative. Still you will see cost to be adverse. Why? Because you didn't change the standard, right? That's the problem. You didn't change the standard, right? Now, uh, and similarly, the consumption part has also been changed. Initially, consumption of conventional material may be different. Consumption of organic material can be different. So there's a lot more change actually done by the company, but the company has not changed the standard cost card, right? So that's the major culprit of this question. The variance report for February and March are shown below. When we changed the standard, we adopted this new standard in March 2009, right? So this is post change and this is pre change, right? So who is responsible? Production manager is responsible for material price variance, material mix variance, and material yield variance. Overall, in February, overall variances were $50 favorable, right? In March, overall variances were 2,100 and $2,300 adverse, right? So, do you think he will get bonus? No, he will not get bonus, right? Sales manager. There are two variances for sales manager: sales price variance, sales contribution variance. In February, the overall variances were $75 adverse, right? In March, the overall variances were 10,000 favorable. Do you think he will get bonus? Yes, he will get bonus because overall variances are favorable. Now, let's wait here and just try to observe these variances. I'm giving you 2 minutes to try to understand what actually happened in these variances, right? I'm giving you just 2 minutes to observe the situation and then we will discuss the performance, right? I'm just giving you 2 minutes to discuss this, to do this. Okay, now if you see this variance, you can see two differences. The first difference is the first difference is it was favorable. Now the variance is adverse. So there is a shift from favorable to adverse. First difference. The second difference is now in the second part of the same thing from adverse to favorable, right? So the variance changed, right? And the second difference is if you see the magnitude, there is a huge difference in the magnitude, right? From 50 to 2300, from 75 to 10,000, right? So who will get the bonus? Sales manager will get the bonus. Who will get penalized? Production manager will bear the heat, right? Is it fine? Or let's start dissecting this. Material price variance was material price variance was 25 favorable. It's 2100 adverse. Why the variance was 2100 adverse? Can you figure out? Because in the question they say that organic ingredient was more expensive. Organic ingredient was more expensive, right? Technically, because we moved to organic ingredient, the overall material was expensive. That's why the overall variance was 2100 adverse. And that's the major reason behind the adverse variances. Secondly, 600 adverse variance means that maybe he made input expensive material in a higher proportion, right? What was the benefit? Benefit was yield variance was favorable, but not that much, right? So he will not get the bonuses. Who will get the bonus? Sales manager. Sales manager overall variances are 10,000 favorable. He will get the bonuses. Who is responsible for this favor? If you see overall variance is 7,700 favorable, right? Who made the contribution? Production manager. Who is getting the benefit? Sales manager. That's the problem with this variance. And why the variance has significantly changed in March? Because we adopted this policy in March, right? So the production manager is upset. The production manager is upset. Makes sense that he seems to have lost all hopes of the bonus under the new system. The sales manager thinks that the new organic cakes are excellent, and is very pleased with the progress made. Crumbly Cakes operates a GIT stock system and holds virtually no inventory. So now you have to analyze the performance, whether the performance or, and you have to analyze the performance of production manager, you have to analyze performance of sales manager, right? What you can write here. See, generally we start with the cost part. Then this is a general structure. Maybe we can write something different. Then we move to its impact on quality. Then we see what are its impact on sales or any other factor. And then we move to any other factor. This is generally how we do mix and yield variance, right? Because generally cost has an impact on quality. Generally. Okay. So if you analyze the performance of production manager, how production manager overall variance of production manager is around 2300 adverse. which means that apparently it seems that he has overspent, right? And somehow he has actually spent more money, right? But do you really think that this is the reason, this is the problem? Then we will move towards the problem. The problem is what? The problem is that the standards were not updated to include mm, details of organic ingredient, right? That's the main reason, right? And then what we can write, we can say that, oh, okay, fine. If you see this part, material price variance is, and since organic ingredients were expensive, are it resulted in 2100 material price variance, adverse material price variance. However, this is not the fault if there is a change in a standard. If there is a change in a standard, you should have updated your standard cost card, but the company didn't do that. And that's the prime reason why this is where there is 2100 adverse material price variance, right? It seems that production manager has also changed the mix of ingredients in order to in order to improve flavor and is using now. Since the variance is adverse, this means that input of expensive material was in a higher proportion. So N is using expensive, not expensive. Expensive is not the correct word. Relatively expensive material in higher proportion, right? So this is basically how we have identified how we have dissected it. This was actually the reason, right? This helped in reducing overall wastage. Why? Because yield variance was favorable. Yield variance was favorable. Material yield variance was favorable. Favorable means there is a less wastage, right? Resulting in 400 favorable yield variance, right? If you want to add more, if you want to connect, you can connect proportion resulting in $600 adverse variance, right? Now, this is the cost part. What actually have done in overall cost, where the cost was high, how the company has used the material, right? Then we will move its impact to the quality part. By using organic ingredient, it can be seen that, or it can be observed that quality was improved, right? And why we can say that the quality was improved? Because resulting in overall increase in sales volume and selling price, resulting in overall variance of 10,000 favorable, right? But again, we have to be very cautious when we are writing, when we are giving all the credit to the production manager, right? But so we can try to balance the answer, because we cannot say that everything has been done by the production manager. Definitely something must have been done by the sales manager, because whenever you change such things, you advertise that, look, we got this product, right? So when you say, when you're saying, when you're giving, right, giving this sort of statement, that means you are giving all the credits to the production manager, which may not be a correct idea, right? However, so you need to balance your answer. However, it's important to uh, identify or analyze the steps taken by sales manager to improve performance, right? Uh, I will discuss why I highlighted this part, right? So this is basically something which we wrote about the production manager. So what points we covered? We said that, okay, fine, overall variance was adverse because of these reasons. Why the variance was adverse? Because of these reasons, right? And its impact on quality, how it affected the quality of the product, and then we try to balance the answer. So that's basically how we did that, right? What about the sales manager? And if you want to add one more point in favor of production manager, you can add this point that if you see the past result, variance was favorable. So in the last February, results were favorable. That means he was performing at par. He was just fine. He was giving normal results, right? But this time, because you made the changes and you didn't change the standard cost card, that was the basic reason behind such significant change in variances, right? So if you want to add one more point in your favor, let's suppose if you feel that you need one more point, so you can add, this can be, here you can add one more point, that he performed within standard in February. So whatever happened actually because of change in material. So it's not the problem that he didn't perform well. The problem is that you didn't change the standard cost card, right? Now, what is its impact on sales variance? So now, if you see the sales variance, overall 10,000 variance is there, right? And he will get the bonus. In March, variance is favorable. In February, the variance was adverse. That means in February, he couldn't meet the target. In March, he exceeded the target. Like, he simply performed really, really, really well, you can say. But of course, we are not seeing the true picture. We are actually giving credits to the wrong person, right? Who should not be given credit, who is not an ideal candidate for bonuses, right? So what we can write for sales manager? Uh, Overall sales variances are 10,000 favorable, which means that uh, sales performance was uh, excellent. However, sales manager, I think he accepted that sales manager, this part. Sales manager thinks that new organic cakes are excellent and is very pleased with the progress made. So he is actually giving credits to the quality, right? So overall, variance favorable is excellent. However, sales manager believes that it is the quality of product which was a prime reason behind sales variance, sales favorable sales variance, right? However, again, here we are again try to I didn't complain that. However, it is vital to analyze the effort of sales manager in communicating change in ingredient and its benefits to customer, right? So apparently, so if someone says that, what do you think? Sales manager didn't. So do you think? So you are trying to say that everything was done by production managers? I say no. It's not the case. But apparently, he himself has accepted that the quality was good, right? But again, you have to balance your answer that you need to understand the efforts made by him. Or and one more thing, you if you want to add at the end, again I forgot about it, as because this was not the situation was not as good as in February, right? In March, right? As we can we can also see, and this can also by considering February variance where sales manager failed to meet the sales targets, right? So that's how we can figure out that what sort of performance was that, right? So whenever you see mixed variance or yield variance, you need to understand the quality part, right? Quality part is extremely important, right? And if someone is saying whether the bonuses are correct or not, so definitely it's clear that the bonus scheme is not fair. Bonus scheme is not fair. There must be there must be some analysis which will highlight the importance, highlight the effort of both the managers so that both of them can get their due share, right?